Welcome to Big Brother Basics, where we break down the basics of Big Brother 16. My name's Jacob Harple, and joining with me are my fantastic co-host. He's the one and only, the cowboy beast himself, Aaron Nunley. How are you doing tonight, Aaron?
I'm doing great. I'm just looking for Amber, that's all. Where is she? She love me? Is she gonna marry me?
Well, you did throw the competition. That's like the first step to endless love, I think.
Thank you for agreeing, because she doesn't seem to.
Also joining with us is the one and only. He was so excited for this episode that he had a heat stroke, but he seems to be okay now, although I don't know if he'll compete in the POV. Keith Guerrero, how are you doing?
I'm definitely dehydrated, and I will not compete in the VOV.
So, it's the third eviction, and before we get started, can I just say, hats off to all three of us. I think we all gave Devin a big fat pre-jury for our cast assessments. And so, are we? How do we feel? Devin's out of the game. Arguably one of the players that got the most screen time at the beginning of the season. So I don't know. Like, how's it feel? How do you guys feel knowing that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is no longer in the house?
I'm definitely disappointed. I wish that Devin could have stayed in the house longer. I know that there's some character development that needs to happen with the rest of the Big Brother cast, but Devin was freaking awesome while he was in the house. He will definitely be one of my favorite characters that ever went inside the Big Brother house. But yeah, I'll definitely miss the kid, but I am excited to see what the rest of the basic people will bring to the season.
Next house guest, Julie. That's how I feel. Like, to the left. You left all your stuff over there, so you need to grab them and go.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of what both of you guys pretty much said. Like, I'm glad that he's gone. It's just because now we get to now I think is where we jump into the game a little bit more, and we get to kind of see the strategic mindset of some of the other players. I will say thank you, Devin, for just giving us such a good ride in these early episodes. Words cannot describe how grateful I am for your antics.
Words can describe, though, as Julie said.
That's true.
He's so like happy about Brittany giving him a little heart, but did she throw you a vote? No, she didn't, because you're not worth it.
I mean,
I think people mistake playing the game hard with playing it
completely wrong.
Because those are two different things. Like, if you suck at the game, don't say, I played too hard. No, you played stupidly. Like, those are two different things, so.
That's interesting. I mean, a foil heart, $500,000, it's really just the same thing.
Yeah, which one do you want, Devin?
I'm sure his daughter will be happy with it either way. But anyway, all right, so let's jump into the Veto episode. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was just the America's task. It seems like they picked the perfect person to start a rumor about, just because Zach has such a big mouth. Like, I feel like Zach did more work for the rumor than Team America themselves.
What I appreciate is that Zach didn't deny the rumor. Like, he just fully embraced it.
He's proud of it.
He was really, really proud of the fact that he is, like, accused of being Amanda Zuckerman's cousin. I mean, who wouldn't? Like, she's a social justice warrior. So, like, the fact that Zach just completely didn't deny it, I think also, like, played into the strengths of Team America, hashtag Team America. So, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, what are y'all gonna do? Like, I'm Amanda's cousin. What you gonna do? What you gonna do about it? Like, put me on the block. Do it.
I feel like that would be way more relevant than Ariana Grande's brother would ever be.
Yeah, he's still thinking someone's gonna come up with that. No one cared.
Now, well, something I just want to get your opinions about it though is, like, do you think Zach handled it the right way by just outright telling people, or do you think it really matters at all? I don't know. It just seemed like, I don't know. I felt like Zach was pushing it just a little bit too hard, and, like, of course, like, it might not make a difference, but I don't know. It was just one of those little nitpicks I had on Zach's gameplay.
I mean, she didn't win, so I don't think
That's true.
someone's gonna be like, your cousin was somebody who won, like, you gotta go. No.
I know there's no Rachel Riley stepping into the door, no Rachel Riley siblings, so that's a plus. But at least, Amanda's cousin wouldn't be the end of the world because Amanda lost.
That's true. What do you guys think about the next task? The basically.
I don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is where they're starting to mess up Team America's
that's
game.
where I was afraid of this whole twist.
Because, like,
this
they're...
is exactly what I was afraid of.
Exactly,
this
because
is the direction we were afraid that it was going to start going.
Right, because Donnie and Frankie will listen to whoever Derek says is the floater or is the competition threat, which will benefit the Bomb Squad Alliance. That's how I feel the task will go down. And it's gonna just end up being like, what's it called? Just like, well, actually, you know, Donnie, he grew some balls this episode. Like,
yeah, we'll get into that soon.
Okay, I'll just stop talking about it immediately.
Yeah. We'll get to that. I'll get that question.
You know what, Julie? I have nothing to say.
Our thoughts on the twist, because, like, I do admit that I'm glad that at least it's open-ended in the fact that it's like, oh, well, who do they feel like is a floater? Who do they think is a physical threat? But, I mean, like, there's no, like, I just feel like it's going to be this week, and then next week it's just going to be straight up, who do you want Team America to get on the block? Text 1 for Amber. Text 2 for that girl that looks like Victoria. Like, so I don't know. I just see the direction that it's going in, and I'm really scared because I like the people in Team America, and it's great to see that they're getting money. But at the end of the day, you want to see them win. You know, you don't want to. So I don't know. I was a little disappointed with the task.
I wish there would be like a C option because right now there's A and B. I wish C would be like, don't give them a task this week.
Yeah. Or the option C should just be. Just let them play their own games, for God's sake.
But, this is CBS. They're not going to allow any of that shit to happen. They have to rig it in some way.
I would love for Derek to be like, I didn't come here to win $5,000 for your little mini games right here. I came here for $500,000.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just see. We'll see how that goes. But, so... As Keith mentioned a little bit ago, until I rudely Julie Chen'd him, Donnie did kind of grow a bit of a backbone. What did you guys think of that conversation that he had with Derek in the storage room?
I was snapping my fingers. I was putting a ring on it. I mean, Aaron, I am really proud of you for picking him on your team because you need someone to save it. Like, Donnie is, like, preaching the most truth out of everyone in the house. And he's really strategic. Like, people just need to listen to him because he knows exactly what's going on in the game. And he has a really good head on his shoulders for what needs to happen. People just need to listen to it unless they want to just hand the win off to, like, an Amber, Caleb, or Frankie, you know?
I was personally... I feel like I was the only person that noticed it. But during, like, the beginning of that combo, and during it, you just can't hear it because they're talking, they had the old school BB Eviction music playing, and I was like, oh, my jam! Like, I'm dancing to it for no reason. But I do agree. I really did like the conversation. Even though I do like Derek, I'm like, Donnie, tell him how it is. Like,
oh, yeah.
Derek's not being your best friend game. He's not telling you how he's playing his game, so you don't need to tell him how you're playing yours.
And that's exactly what I appreciated because Derek has been like really like the front runner of how conversations have been going recently. And so for him to be fake because Donnie's name was pulled out of a bag and Donnie was able to sniff that stuff he was stepping in. I mean, Donnie was able to just call him out like, oh, all of a sudden you really do care about what I'm going to be doing in this game because I was picked for Veto. Like, no, back up off. Like, screw you. I'm going to veto Jocasta. Cody can stay on the block. Or Caleb can stay on the block.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was great because we haven't really seen that side of Donnie yet. So it was cool to see that he does have that ability to, be aggressive and, tell it how it is.
Well, I disagree. We did see that side of him with Nicole, and that's exactly why he got put up on the nomination block. It's just that people need to fucking listen to what Donnie has to say because it's fucking true,
Well, I just feel like, I think Donnie just at this point, like, he needs to start winning something that's not a POV. Like,
no, you don't. Just stay, get your VOVs, keep sashaying away the VOVs.
I mean, I think...
I just, like, he knows what's going on, and he has great insight. It's just that like the people that I think the only people that are really 100% on his side is Jocasta. And so he really needs to try and get something going and like convince the people like Nicole and Hayden, be like, hey, like you think this 8-person alliance is like no more, but there are remnants of this alliance still existing and it needs to be addressed.
He doesn't need
And
to convince anybody of anything. He's been to Vietnam, Jacob. He's been to Vietnam.
Oh, I know.
I don't see, even if Donnie were to win HOH, I don't see them listening to him. Like, they just... It's like... It's too, I guess, comical coming from him. Like, it has to come from someone else. So
Right.
he has to convince somebody who people listen to. I just don't see it happening.
That's the ageism that's dealing, or that exists within the house. Like, Donnie represents everything that isn't within, like, the young, physically fit crowd that, like, necessarily has, like, we grew up as the same generation. Like, Donnie's figurehead is a completely generation gap between everybody else that's in the house. And so any conversation that Donnie has with people, they'll take with a grain of salt, and they'll just be like, he's old, he doesn't know what he's talking about, but I'm still going to act like he has some wisdom behind his ears. But in actuality, he is like a really, really good Big Brother player. It's just that everybody else is kind of like stupid.
Yeah, I mean, he just doesn't have any pull. Like, that's his biggest weakness.
Yeah.
And, like, it's a side note, but just, I was watching the feeds the other day, and he was trying to talk to them about, like, he was talking about Howie, and, like, everyone either didn't know who he was talking about or thought they were talking about Howard from BB16. I almost fainted.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Like, God. That's just, like,
That's it.
There it is. Donnie's like the true, like the real deal. Like he knows who the Big Brother house guests are way back in season 6, way back in season 4. I mean, that's why you get these basic girls up in this house, and I don't know.
It also is why we've had every single eviction so far has been a recruit. Just saying.
There it is. There's the truth. Where you at?
Send them on out, Allison Grodner.
Get them out of here. We don't want them.
To us,
we don't
send
want
them back out.
I also know what I want to talk about next. Can we talk about how Amber will not be manipulated by a simple competition throw, Caleb? Can we just talk about that real quick?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, I feel like that was one of the biggest storylines for Wednesday and Thursday, was just like that incredibly awkward interaction between Caleb, Cody, and Amber. I mean, props to Amber for just being like, I didn't ask you to throw this, the Battle of the Block. And honestly, I feel like Amber would have been just fine without Caleb throwing it.
I disagree. I definitely think if Caleb tried, then Caleb and Jocasta would have won, despite Jocasta being dehydrated. Because Amber and Donnie at puzzles aren't the best combination, and Caleb was really, like, at their heels. But
they have, like 3 puzzle pieces, 2 left?
Yeah, like, literally there was 2 puzzle pieces left, so like, Caleb literally did throw it in Amber's favor, which is great. But I don't understand why Caleb can't take a hint. Like, what the hell is wrong with you to not realize that this girl is not going to be into you ever? Like, what's your problem?
I don't know, man. I mean, he did throw Battle of the Blocks for her, so if that's not, like, husband material, then I don't know what is. I don't know. What do you, like, and we kind of go back and forth at Amber, and, I don't think, is anyone here, like, a fan of Amber?
Yes.
I know that. Okay, Keith, that's what I thought.
Yes, like
I think she's a competitor, but
I really appreciate Amber in the house. I feel like she represents a lot of things that I appreciate in a Big Brother player. And I also like that she's not gonna like compromise her her attraction to people just because they're like giving everything to her when it's unwanted, Like I really do appreciate, but I also am curious how Amber will approach Caleb for the rest of the game. Like, I'm wondering if she would be willing to vote Caleb out in the future, or if she knows that since Caleb is, like, always coming at her with all of these, like, despite, like, stalkerish tendencies, like, coming at her with all of these, like, I'm going to be loyal to you, I will risk myself, risk my game to you. I really wonder if Amber's going to take that into consideration, or if she will just abuse that relationship.
I feel like I would respect Amber, or at least be a bigger fan of her game, if I could just get a DR from her saying,
yes,
I'm stringing him along, I'm using him as a meat shield. Like,
please, you
But-
need her to pull out her Allison Irwin.
Amber's also just like one of the nicer people in the game. Like she's
nice. Don't get you
very.
500,000.
I mean, that's not true because Jordan was nice and she made final 2.
Well, I mean,
then she's very Jordan right now. Like she has no strategy. She's having some sort of showmance. I mean, she's being very Jordan right now and like kind of like oblivious to exactly what's going on. And actually, when she was HOH, she was very matter of fact. Whenever she nominated Nicole and Hayden, she was just like, "It is what it is. I'm nominating one guy, one girl. Eat it. Like, there's nothing you can do about it." And whenever she was nominated, she was also very good. And then she had control about who Nicole was going to nominate against her. So I don't know, Amber is playing the game relatively well, and I'm definitely a fan of hers. But it also may have to do with the type of pull that she has in the house guests and how much influence she has. Because I don't know, for Nicole to listen to Amber again, like that's just weird. The fact that Amber nominated her in the past.
do we think Caleb is hurting or helping Amber's game?
Caleb is a sinking ship, so Amber's just like part of that anchor that's like sinking to the bottom of the ocean.
I don't think he's really doing that much to her game because it's very obvious to everybody but Caleb that she's not interested. So it's not like they really group them together.
Yeah.
The only thing that I see would be a problem is if anyone wants Amber gone, they know that Caleb's gonna like protect her. So
and also Cody too. Like Cody just got thrown into the mix as well. So like getting an Amber evicted like immediately will be extremely hard from the house.
Cody's not even on that level though. Like Cody's nowhere near that level. He's flirting with every girl in the house. So
Yeah,
I mean, they were really trying for that edit tonight, but
Were they?
he's not even on that level.
Are you sure?
He's not on that level.
Okay. Do
He's
you think that he would choose Brit?
He was
Wait,
like,
Aaron. Do you think that he would choose Brittany over?
Amber? And I think it's just his personality.
Yeah, he's a flirt.
Yeah, he's just and I felt like that whole thing, like the stalker music, the flirt,
Which was lovely.
Well, I just felt like it was just kind of like a smoke screen for maybe Devin isn't gonna go this week.
Yeah, that's all.
I felt like it was a little bit exaggerated.
Because I know some of that stuff was, as always, the timeline doesn't really go how it went. But yeah, that was just to be like, oh my gosh, maybe Caleb will leave this week. Flash forward to a unanimous eviction with nobody throwing any hinky votes anywhere. So it's when they were like, it's time to pick players for the veto competition, and Brittany's in the shower. Like, what was that? Like,
That was so awkward. Like, it looked like Devin had just walked into the shower and had like a knife in his hand. Like, that was the reaction I got from Brittany's face.
Like, she turned like, oh god.
It was just such a gas reaction. I was like, what the hell? Like,
Oh my god.
that was terrifying. That
I'm
really
so done with
was.
their edit this season. It's killing me.
Oh my god. Yeah. No. I'm glad that you noticed that because I wasn't sure if anyone would catch it, but it definitely. I was like, whoa, hold the phone. We got to go back.
And I feel like, I kind of, slip up with season 14 and 15, but I'm going to get back there. But I feel like this is the first time that a nominee has not competed in the Power Veto competition. Like, they just didn't compete.
Oh, yeah. I don't think it's ever happened before.
So that was really interesting.
Dan was tweeting about it during the episode, and he had some very strong feelings about it.
What did he say?
And I think
They shouldn't have done it or something.
Yeah. And Danielle Donato tweeted about it too, and they were both just like, no matter what, like I'm dragging my corpse to that competition, and I thought that was a little unfair. And Dan also said about, well, she must feel really confident about her position in the house, and I was like, well, I mean, I don't know. First of all, I don't think it's fair to judge her that harshly because she's the only one that knows how she feels.
Yeah.
I believe she was actually medically diagnosed with having a heat stroke, so she wasn't just coughing in bed. And honestly, on a strategic level, I thought it was a pretty interesting move because this girl is so sick she can barely get out of bed. Who's gonna want to vote out someone like that who can't even compete in a competition? So I don't think it was that. I think it really worked out. My heart goes out to Jocasta. That's a horrible, horrible thing to go through. But I think people like Dan or Danielle, should really consider what the actual benefits of something like that could be for her game.
Speaking of Jocasta, I just
She
got
was annoying.
one thing to say. And it
Are
is
you
the most truthful thing that has ever been said on America's Next Top Model. I'm going to pull out Miss J. But Miss J says, black girls always give that extra. And Jocasta, this episode and the previous episode, when she was crying and sobbing about the fact that she was vetoed from the block, praising God, like, oh, there's Jocasta, there's a black one. She is bringing all the extra to the table. Thank you, Jocasta. Here's your personality, and you can stop crying in your confessionals. Amber Part 2.
In the words of Amber, she is doing the most. Like, I love when she said that about Devin. He's doing the most right now. But no, I agree. She, like the crying, like, I don't know, for a while, it was like, oh, it's, touching, she's crying or whatever. But she kept crying, and BB kept recording, and I was like, okay, like,
we get it.
Like, it's the ugly cry, too, so it's just like, no, please.
I feel really bad for Nicole, because I feel like she's going to start thinking the Big Brother house is haunted again, with all the...
On next episode, she's going to be the one in the shower making that, oh my god, face.
Oh my gosh, Jocasta. I don't know. Like, what do you think? Like, do you guys think that she should have put more of an effort to try and show up or make an appearance? Because I think that's the big thing that she was getting critiqued on by fans or people online.
I think that...
I feel bad. Like, she couldn't... I mean, how can... I don't know. You can't really judge somebody based off of that.
I agree.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I mean, she's okay.
Literally, someone's health, like, the fact that like, preceded, like, a veto competition, like, that's how serious it was. Like, Jocasta knows what's at stake. There's $500,000. There's a lot of things that could happen with that money that could benefit her family and the people that she cares about. But the fact that she was still not able to compete, like, that's how serious of an issue it was. I think people need to respect that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think this will be the only time I'll be on Jocasta's side all season, but I'm with Jocasta on that one. So POV, what did you guys think of the competition? I actually really liked it. It seemed like a really very strategic, I don't know, kind of competition. I don't know. I was
glad Devin was freaking in it for anything.
God, yes. Like, think how boring that episode would have been.
I mean, the competition, they wouldn't have even tried hard. Like, I love that they had to fight to backdoor Devin. Like, that in itself should, like, made it more interesting for me.
Also,
but yeah, that was a really cool competition. Like,
what I appreciated about Devin, the fact that he was like, he had like 3 really like intense, like boom, boom, boom. Like he went three dice blocks like in a row. And then it got to a point where like his dice block was diagonal, and I don't think it like really matched like how Big Brother envisioned this like competition to go, because like it was literally like diagonal whenever like the number was 2, and he like forced it so that he would go on the platform with the number 2 outside of that. So I don't know, I thought that was hilarious, but yeah, I'm glad that Devin at least had the chance to participate in the veto competition that was for his life. And also, I think that Big Brother has that box with a rigged-ass chip system. Like, they have all the other house guests inside one thing, so Derek picks out of there, and then, like, a compartment drops, and there's only Devin chips, and then Caleb picks Devin, and then the compartment goes back up, and then, like, yeah, Derek picks another chip because Jocasta's gone.
Is the chip box the real Pandora's box of Big Brother?
That's it. That's real.
I love the Derek segment during the competition where he was doing the robot. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't get to see him, after the competition, but I feel like he'd feel more dumb about that performance than he was complaining about his performance. The keg, like the keg moving with the tossing. He was so pissed off that he fell off that competition. And he did so much worse in this competition because he literally had to just move forward 2 steps and he would have won that competition. But he was too busy doing his robotic arm movements, embarrassing his wife and his daughter.
He was giving a shout out to Chenbot, maybe. He's like, "This one's for you, Julie."
I thought it was really funny that Devin came into that competition already, guns a-blazing and broke the door handle. But that's really just CBS and their hot mess sets. Like, y'all had so much time to put that handle on that door. You know you could have done a better job.
Also, something that like made me like Derek less was the war paint. Like, I thought that was super like unnecessary.
It was unnecessary
For him to like go in with war paint along with like Caleb and every like that was like we all know that Devin's a house target. Like, what's the point of putting on the war paint? Like, we know that that's what's gonna happen. And this competition was catered towards people that could eliminate a house guest. You know, you could pick to go against whoever you want to, and they're eliminated from the veto competition. So like, what's the point of the war paint? Like, we don't see Devin coming in with a war paint saying that he's here for his daughter on his cheeks. You know, like that's absolutely ridiculous and offensive, and it made me like Derek a little less.
But I mean, it might be because of how we don't see Devin. Because I mean, just like the snarky comment he said, I guess the back door was the only door. Like, that, like it wasn't really necessary to say that. Like, yeah, they're gonna try to backdoor you. It's just maybe the way that he talks and the way that he's carried himself. Because the way that we've seen him carry himself was not really a positive light for the first 2 weeks of this game. So maybe the way that he carried himself made them feel like it was okay to do something like that. I mean,
you're right.
I felt kind of bad for him when literally everybody was cheering after he got eliminated.
No, I was just like, oh my god, like just total.
You don't have to.
Ovation.
Like, you can't hide. Like, y'all can't hide it. Like, y'all hide everything else.
Jeez, yeah, I thought that was a little rough. I mean, like, at the end of the day, I don't know. Like, everyone's still a person, and I may be being a little bit too sympathetic for Devin, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel at least a little bad when the entire house cheers when you lose.
And
like,
I forgot who called him the bully in their confessional. Like, who called Devin a bully?
Oh god,
I don't remember who did, but someone called Devin a bully, and I really disagree with that statement. And obviously I'm not in the house, but like, there's a difference between Devin and Jeremy, where Jeremy's like completely tainted with evil, and I feel like Devin was just completely overwhelmed and consumed with the game, you know? And I don't think there was any evil intention with Devin. And even Devin, whenever he was evicted, like, he came out with a smile, and he was like sitting on the nomination chair, like, you know, very, very, you know, like, not with any like ill will towards anybody. Like, he was still willing to hug people. So I don't know. I feel like there's just over exaggerations with that term, and I feel like people should understand the difference between like just bad gameplay and what it means to be a bully.
Or even aggressive gameplay.
Right.
Because I feel like Devin was a very aggressive player, but I never saw him... He was never demeaning anyone or, I think, trying to intimidate anyone. I mean, of course, I think he was very aggressive, but I think...
His size gun against him.
Yeah, and so, I don't know. I thought he was a very good sport tonight.
He was very good. And like, you can't blame Devin for going into the house and starting deals, you know? Like, he did the Double D Alliance, he did the Bomb Squad, he formed everybody that was in Alliance, including the two girls, Amber and Christine, who just, like, I guess, don't care the fact that he was the one that included them in the Alliance. So, I don't know, there's a lot of things about, I guess, Devin's personality that the house didn't like, but at the same time, like, he allowed a lot of people to succeed in the game when it could have just been, like, an all-male dominated season again.
I would have been all over him about going around and making all these alliances when he attacked Joey for trying to do the same thing. But that's neither here nor there. And I'm sorry for bringing Joey up.
Who is she?
For 2 weeks.
So before we jump into the eviction episode, one thing I wanted to ask, one final question for the POV. Do you think Donnie needed to win that veto when it came down to him and Caleb?
I feel like whenever Donnie had that conversation with Derek, he just gave zero fucks about anybody else winning the veto. Like, he wants to have some say in the game, and he can't have it within the social ties because everybody's already creating like these interwoven connections, and he's not a part of it. Like, Derek demonstrated very clearly that he wasn't part of their plan. So with Donnie winning the veto and with his reasonings of wanting to veto Jocasta, I feel like Donnie was completely justified in winning this competition.
I'm worried because this is the second veto win, and people are in this house this season are extremely paranoid about anything you tell them. They'll run with it, and Donnie getting his second veto win, it's going to come back and hurt him. Like, they're going to come after him their biggest reasons is going to be like he's likable and he hasn't stepped on anyone's toes really. He's already won 2 power veto competitions. Like it's gonna come back to haunt him, and I'm so worried for him because of it.
I agree. I mean, I was thinking about it because I feel like if he was okay with getting rid of Devin this week, then there was no reason for him to, like, he could have just let Caleb win, knowing that he would take himself off and that Devin would go. Excuse me. The only reason I think the big thing that justified him actually going for it and winning the veto was that with all of this talk about the bomb squad and that kind of wedge a little bit between him and Derek, you don't know 100% if the plan is actually to get rid of Devin. And so by using the veto on Jocasta, he's at least keeping his ally safe. And if the plan is Devin, then it happens and he can do it anyway. And he creates I guess he gives himself options just in case he does want to try and push Caleb. Because I think Donnie at a few points wanted Caleb out instead of Devin. But I don't know. That was the big thing I could see why. But I don't know. I felt like 3 vetoes and he's won 2 of them. It's just kind of...
But, like, people always overlook Donnie. Like, I'm pretty sure all of the other contestants that were competing in that veto thought that they could beat Donnie, and they couldn't. So I feel like he's, like, proving himself.
And that's another frustration I have with some of these players, because they look at Caleb and it's like, oh, this guy's a beast. Like, this guy's a comp threat. And it's just like, they look at these people and they think they're a huge target. But Caleb's not a target. Caleb's not a target at all. He's playing an emotional game. He can't strategize. He's won 1 competition. Like, he's completely manipulated by other people in the house. Like, what makes Caleb a target?
And I was thinking the same thing about Devin too, because like even with the hanging competition, he's one of like the first guys to go, and then like with this dice block competition, he had no strategy. He was like bulldozing the dice like 3 times over, which was never the path that he needed to take. I mean, like the house guests, whenever they interpret somebody as a competition threat, it has nothing to do with actual competition. It just goes based off of like, oh, who looks the most athletically fit, as opposed to like who can actually win a competition. Like I'd be more intimidated by a Cody or a Zach than a Devin.
Oh yeah, I completely agree, and especially someone that has no social game, has completely took a shit on all social ties. Like, I don't know. I would have loved to see a power play against Caleb tonight.
Me too, because Devin will always be by himself, so he'll always be a house target. So with them getting rid of Caleb, it'll get rid of like one of those weeks where you're gonna have to get rid of a friend.